Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Start correct. So good afternoon, viewers. To all those listeners who are here today for this live session for the course on the psychology of language, I welcome you to this session. This is the first session for the course on the psychology of language. This particular session that we have is a one-to-one interaction between me, the instructor for this course, and you, the learner. So this provides you an opportunity to ask questions, give feedbacks and suggestions, and discuss other queries that you may have regarding this course in this present session. There is a second session which will follow at a later point of time for this course. And so if you are not able to come online today, or you're not able to put your question today to me, you will get a second opportunity at a later point of time. Now, the way these sessions work is people who are logged on for this session can put a question to me or put their views to me through the YouTube online platform where presently we are live. You can also put a question in the chat box of this team meeting that we are currently holding. We can put a question to me through the online form that was circulated to you, and I'll take a question from there. And if none of these steps work, you can post the question into the forum which we have for this course, and we'll address your question there. Assuming that none of these works for you, what you could do is you can write a direct mail to me asking questions or giving your feedback regarding this course. So let's start solving your queries. And with whatever knowledge I have about this particular area of psychology, which is the language psychology or psycholinguistics, I will try to give answers to your queries. One more request, those questions which we have already answered in the forum, or those questions which is related to the course as such, which will be provided in the course in the video. I suggest you don't come up with the questions in this live forum because we'll waste our precious time on answering the questions, the answers for which is already present in the video. So any particular point that you don't understand or any particular section that you don't understand, you're welcome to ask those questions and provide your feedbacks and suggestions for this course. So let's start taking questions. If you are online here, please start asking your questions. I am here to answer all your questions. And let's make it a more informative and healthy discussion. So let's start with taking questions. So I don't have a question as such on the team forum, so team chat. Let me check with the YouTube live session, and there too okay. Deva Pratim Bhrali, and so Deva Pratim, thank you for this question. So you asked us to ask me to share my email ID. My email ID is nkashyap@iitg.ac.in. If you just go to the website, you will find this email ID. Just go to IIT Guwahati website and type my name, and you will find the website. the website for my laboratory, the kind of work that I do, and there you will find the email ID. Also, within this course page, you will find the email ID, so you can get those IDs from there. If you want, I'll post that ID for you as well. Nagesh says very effective program. So thank you, Nagesh. And Pratim also agrees with him. It's interesting. So thank you again for those good reviews about the course. I have a question by Raju Verma, and let him type the question. Good afternoon, Raju. Okay, so Nagesh says the assignment questions are not in line with the lecture-wise sequence. I will have a look at it. This should not happen, but technically those lectures that you're seeing and those questions which are put to you should be in line. So I'll, to my best of knowledge, it is according to what the lectures are. There will be some questions which would be speculative, which basically means that you need to do a little bit more extra effort in understanding those. Maybe these are those questions you are pointing out to. So while taking this course, for passing this course, the video lectures and the assignment would be enough. But if you want to do good or score good, then you should follow one of the books, or at least refer to one of the books that I have put in the course page. That way you will learn more, because when you read more and you follow the lecture with it, you will be learning more. Also, there is a system of asking questions, so ask those questions, but I'll definitely have a look of what all questions that you are pointing out in this match. As I said, to the best of my knowledge, the assignment question is in line with whatever the lectures are. So I'll have a look at it and I'll get back to you. All right. So Shivani has a question. Can you suggest some research gaps in psycholinguistics? Very much interested. Shivani, if I'm correctly spelling your name, you did ask a question on the forum, and you asked something about psycholexical research and personality. I'll answer your question in a while. And if you want gaps in psycholinguistics, I don't work in psycholinguistics. That's an area that I teach. My area of research is memory, but I'll definitely look forward for some good research on psycholinguistics. And maybe I'll propose it for you, or I'll have a look at what new areas or new gaps are there in psycholinguistics. So it's not my primary area, but if you want me to have a look into it, I'll do that. But before I do that, if you could be very specific or a little bit more specific on what interests you in psycholinguistics. Is it the formation of words, or how language develops, or how communication proceeds, or any specific area? Because one area that you mentioned in your email, as well as the question put on the online forum, the online question forum, it was about psycholexical research. So we'll talk about that and how this is related to personality in a while. Let me just take up some other questions and answer them, and then I'll come back to you, because I'll have to give you a detailed answer. So Disney Car has a question, and the question is, does social media affect language learning skills among young children? If yes, the impact positive or negative? Now, social media, it does influence learning skills or language learning skills, but the point that it is balanced. See, any form of interaction, any form of information in the formative stage of children actually helps you in learning a particular language, but too much of it and without restraint, it may actually hinder those learning. So if you ask me for a suggestion, I suggest that at the learning stage, at the language learning stage for small children, it is better to keep them away from the social media things, because when you use these medias, social media or information on the social media platform, these are not balanced. So sometimes concepts would come which the child doesn't understand, or he gets a wrong impression of that. So it would be better to do a basic mother-child kind of an interaction at the very formative stage, and later on it should help. Social media would help, but you would agree with me that the social media is unrestrained, at least in India, and it has a lot of things which should not be there, and that instead of benefiting would hamper the children in many ways. So to cut short the whole answer, it does improve any form of information, improves learning, but that form should be balanced, as in what is being put to the children. So I think that answers your question, Disney. Uh, Shubh Bharti is a question. No, it says good afternoon, sir. So good afternoon, Shubh Bharti. Nagesh is a question. Industrial psychology also incorporated? No, industrial psychology is not incorporated in this course. Industrial psychology is a different branch which comes under organization psychology, and that should be a different one altogether. Then I have speech therapy, Ashok Yadav. Good afternoon. So good afternoon, Ashok. So all questions by Shivani Kenny. I'll take your question in a moment. Dehna Riti, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Nagesh, the observation that virtually all languages use is in spoken mode is known as duality of patterning. So duality of patterning actually really means that from very basic stuff, you create more complex patterns. So simple patterns lead to complex pattern is the idea of duality of patterning, as I remember. That is what the duality of patterning actually means, Nagesh. So Daisy, thank you. Nagesh, thank you. Now Shivani. So this is a newer research, psycholexical research, and it comes from language learning. It comes from some theories of language learning, which suggest that the places that you live in or how you are brought up also has some advent or some kind of effect on how you behave. Your behavior gets in line with the place that you live in, and this behavior has an indirect effect on your language. So what psycholexical research really means is that basically it's from the time of Gordon Allport and people after them, where they started looking at how language affects personality, and they were doing some work on the trait theory, I believe, and from there this whole idea came up. The idea here is that if certain people have a certain personality type or a certain kind of personality, develop a certain kind of personality, this personality type is also reflected in their language, right? And some words the most common factor for this personality, it gets reflected in some prominent use of certain words. For example, look at how we define people in India. So certain group of people from the north and south and divisions are there, and a tag is put on them. For example, the north, look at the extreme north, people are more aggressive, and the aggressiveness that they display is also reflected in the way they speak. So certain language characteristics that they use is also reflected in how they speak, and the use of that particular way of speaking makes them more aggressive. So it's kind of a chain kind of a thing. The primary theory here says that your behavior determines the language that you're going to use, rather, and that will shape your personality. So your personality is kind of in between where how you behave and what language do you do. There is an interaction between that that has to do with the psycholexical approach to personality, right? Okay. Uh, so taxonomy formation in personality psychology. Now, what I would need from you is some more information, as in what is it that you are looking at from the likes of it. If you read works of Gordon Alport, or there's a Moscow School of Semantics, if I remember correctly, and some other work uh, related to how this approach actually developed. But if you could be more specific, as in what is it that you really are interested, as in how do you want to link this? Because this linkage already exists about how personalities and languages interact with each other. But what is it specifically that you need? If you can be more sure about that, write me a mail with those and then give me some time. I'll go back to the literature which is available. I'll sort it out for you, and maybe then I can give you my perspective on how things really work, right? But technically speaking, this is what it is all about. It is um the use of words, certain words, or the overuse of certain words related to the overuse of certain personality types, and this is the basis of it. But anything more than that, I'll require to read on it. And once I've done the reading, I'll be in a much better answer questions. Now, one example to understand this is the semantic differential scale, how personalities, different personalities were explained by certain words or diametrically opposite words. And that certainly would be a good idea or a good example to show you how psycholexical research really works, right? So write me an email with whatever specificity you have or whatever you have in mind. It, and then I can get back to you on what exactly do you want to know. Okay, that I hope that works for you. Uh, Saurabh, okay, so Saurabh says he's waiting for the new course. The new course is going to come not in the upcoming semester, but there's a new course that I'm floating, which is not coming neither this semester nor next, but next to next. It will probably be on engineering psychology. So I'm designing a course on engineering psychology, which will look at human factors and all those mechanics of it, all those areas where how humans and machines interact, and what is the relationship between, what is the nature of this relationship, and how it is addressed. Or rather, I put it in different ways, saying that how psychology or the knowledge of psychology helps you in designing a better machine and human machine interaction. That is the course about. That will come probably somewhere around August 2024. Still in preparation, so you'll get it complete and then probably you'll see. Next semester, the courses you are going to look is been around for some time, but maybe new for you. Right. Nagesh, the length of is divided in two parts, and please share the name for them. The length of cochlea is divided in two parts. So basically, what happens, Nagesh, is that the cochlea that you're looking at is it's kind of a tube which is filled with liquid, and on that, on the outer part of it, you have some hairs, and these hairs are specialized for sensing certain vibrations, right? Now, what happens is that it is tonotopically arranged. We basically mean that different tones are uh, uh, they are sort of encoded by different group of hair cells, and so as these hammer presses against that wall, that the eardrum that you have, this is transferred into that liquid, and these vibrations flow through this cochlea. This cochlea is a circular structure, and it keeps on flowing into. Now, the cells that you have, or the hairs that you have, outer hairs that you have, these hairs are specially designed to sense certain kind of vibrations, and when they see these vibrations in that liquid or the flow, they transfer this information to the primary auditory cortex, which then codes it and sends it to the secondary auditory cortex for process. So that is how the cochlea is. But is it divided into two parts? I don't really recall it right now. I'll go back, I'll look into it if there are two parts of it and how they are, and I will be answering your question. So I hope that answers the question for you, Nagesh. Uh, Okay, so Nagesh, I'll have to actually look at it, this specific thing, right? The present semester I'm not teaching this course, so it's called the basilar membrane. I'll go back into it and look into it, how cochlea is divided into two parts, and I'll answer that question to you in the forum itself, or put this question in the forum, and I'll deal with this question in the forum itself. I hope that answers your question for now. And Shivani, yes, you can mail the details of your project of what you want to do. I'll have to look into it, and I'll probably get some kind of more specificity into what you want to do. Right. So thank you, Nagesh. If other people are here who would like to ask questions, please go ahead. There are three ways you can ask your questions to me. You can put it on this live session, which we are presently running on YouTube. There is another session which is running on this team forum. So you can put a question here. And then there is an online Excel sheet which is available. And people have put questions there, so you can put a question there as well, and I can answer those questions for you. It's not only questions that I'm looking forward for. If you have any feedback or suggestions, if you can share them with me, maybe that will actually help me in redesigning this course. I will not say redesign, but understanding the needs of students who are out there, and maybe explaining it in a way that you better understand. So all feedbacks and all suggestions are welcome, and I'll take them in the right way. And if possible, I'll incorporate them. These lectures are already there, so wherever necessary, I'll try to incorporate these suggestions for you. Also, if you have specific questions related to your projects that you're doing, or if you're interested in certain projects that you want to carry on, you need my feedback on that, you can always ask those questions to me, and so I can answer those questions for you as well. So that is how this session actually goes around. I believe in language psychology, the way I have taught is I started with looking at how communication proceeds, and then looking at the research in language in terms of defining how experimental setup is done in terms of language. Further to it, I've looked at advanced processes, which is basically looking at the perception of speech and the production of speech. So two different sections. And from there on, I've looked at something called words, which are I would say the one-stop point for any language, because words are which actually make meaning or semantic sort of thing. So looked at words, and from there on I looked at the utility of words or the applicability of words in terms of sentences, looking at how the dialogue or communication between two people moves forward. So it's to do with sentences, it's to do with communication, and then it's to do with bilingualism, which is learning two languages at the same time. So this is, from what I remember, is the format of how this course actually runs. And as you go along this course, you will find it getting more and more interesting. So this is an advanced level course, a little bit more advanced level course. So my suggestion to all of you out there is, if you can get hold of a book reading is the most easiest way to understand anything. So I have mentioned a couple of books there. These books are available. These are very inexpensive books, which I have mentioned. And so you can look at some of these books and refer to them, and they'll give you some more detail. Something which I might have missed in my lectures will also be there in the book, and they'll give you a different perspectives. With that, you can also look at other information which is available in the internet, which can assist you in learning this course. In all, this was kind of a course which was meant to introduce you or to introduce my learners to all those debates, to all those concepts which can arise in studying language or understanding language from a psychological point of view. So this is not a very detailed course on any one aspect of language as such. It is the overall thing. So why is language important, first of all? And if it is, then what consists of a language? So when I'm saying language, what does it mean? And then how does it proceed? So what is the function of language? So basically that was what the motive behind developing this course. Understand that I'm not a linguist, so some questions related to linguistics I may not be able to answer. My expertise lies in understanding the psychological aspects of language. So those aspects of language which relates directly to the behavior of human beings. So instead of looking at how language is created or certain technicalities with phonemes or understanding phonemes and all, my expertise lies in understanding the applicability of it in terms of understanding human behavior. So that is what I've tried to do in this particular course. And from what I understand, it's decent enough for people to understand. So your views, if you are online, if some of you are online, if you want to ask a question, please go ahead. You can also type in your questions, as I said, in one of these forums, or there is definitely another session coming up later, not maybe this month, the next month. If you forget now, or if you don't have a question right now, and say at some other point of time you have a question or a suggestion, you can put those to me in those sessions, or just mail me your question, put it on the forum, the online forum, or mail me, and I'll try to answer your questions, right? So that's how it works. So again, as I said, the timing for this session is 1 hour. So we passed the half an hour point. If you have a question, please go ahead and ask. I'll wait for those questions from you for the next 5 to 10 minutes. If there are no further questions, we'll wrap it up and move on for the next session. So if you have a question, please go ahead and ask. So Nageshwar has a question. I'm an HR professional. I would like to do a PhD in psychology. Okay, Nageshwar. So you can do a PhD in psychology. And depending on your background, as in what is your specialization, you can choose the area you want to do a research on. So depending on whether you had a bachelor's in psychology, to understand that university systems or any education systems require you to have a bachelor's and master's in the subject that you want to do your doctoral work on or thesis work on. And so if you have the bachelor's and master's in psychology, it will be easier for you to do it. But if you have it in an MBA or another kind of a more applicative course, you can probably look for a PhD in management or an organization psychology. Somebody from the background of organization psychology would be more beneficial for helping you out. So reach out to those people who have depending on your background, who is suitable for you. And definitely, my best wishes, you will definitely be able to complete your doctoral work and do good work in psychology. So thank you, Nageshwar. So I hope that helps you. If you want any more information, just let me know. Write me a mail with your background, and maybe I can suggest you places where you can probably do your PhD. So that's what I can do for you. Any other questions if you have, please go ahead, ask the question. So I have Robin. So good afternoon, Robin. If you have a question, suggestion, feedback, please go ahead. Put those questions, suggestions to me. And with whatever limited knowledge I have in the area of psychology, I will try to satisfy your query, satisfy your thirst for knowledge. And that's how these sessions really work. So please go ahead, ask those questions. I'm still waiting for you to ask those questions. And the content of this course, probably anything else also related to the psychological aspect of language. If you have a question, please go ahead and ask those questions. So I'm here and I'm waiting. And if I have a question within the next 5 or 10 minutes, I'm here. Otherwise, I'll have to wrap this session up. So please go ahead, ask your questions. I am waiting for your question. Let me also check the other forums if there is a question. Okay, so I don't think I have a question on the YouTube right now. So Reginald has a question. What is the question? Being a pre-service teacher, I really find this course interesting, especially how language influences us in many ways. Okay, sociological, etc. Your session is a good, sir. Thank you. Some points forgot to submit this week. Okay. Is there a way to resubmit it? Unfortunately, there is not. But let me talk to those people who handle it. And whatever answer I get, I'll send it to you. Second, is there a way to please help me learn more about the content? There are some books. Yes, there are very good books. There's a book by Carol. If you look at the page, the information page for this course, I have mentioned some books, and these are very easy books to understand. So they won't be too intimidating for you. These are very written in a very easy format. So those books are there. I think Carol's book is there on understanding the psychology of language, and a couple of more books I don't remember right now. What I'll do is if you send me the same question as a personal mail or put it on the forum, I'll send you the list of books, right? And I'll send you the most easiest books to follow so that you don't get, I'd say, lost in so many things in it. So I'll send you those books as you put these questions. I don't remember them right now. So Pooja has a question. MBA and working with a corporate, but I'm interested in pursuing psychology counseling. Required for me to start with a bachelor's in psychology. If you want to do counseling, Pooja, then it will be required to do a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in psychology, particularly in counseling psychology. But other than that, if you have an MBA and you want to do a PhD, PhD in organizational behavior can be done with an MBA. There are universities which support it. And so you can look at certain aspects of organizational psychology. For example, you could work on, let's say, leadership behaviors in managers on different forums, or you can look at consumer satisfactions and how it's related to, let's say, certain kind of leadership. So there are multiple type of leaderships, or you can look at a leader worker relationship, those kind of questions. I'm not from organizational psychology, please understand. So I'm trying to think as much as I can, what can be the problem that you can look at. Also, you can look at something called organizational climate, which basically means that what kind of climate should prevail or should be there in an organization which gives maximum efficiency, and you can also relate them to human behavior. So that kind of research you can do. The field is called organizational psychology. It's a part of management. It's a part of your managerial courses, and there are faculties who will be helping you with that. But if you want to do it in counseling, you will require a bachelor's in psychology and at least a master's in counseling, because counselors need to have this master's and then some kind of affiliation with people who give you that permit to do counseling, right? So that is what my understanding is. So I hope that answers the question. So Mohammed GDFM, can you explain the psychological effects of language impaired persons? Psychological effects of language impaired persons. If you be more specific, I'd be happy to answer your questions. What is it that you need to explain? And if you can be a little bit more specific, GD, I can I think I can answer your question, right? So what is it specifically that you are requiring for me? If you put that, I'll be able to answer your question. So I hope, Pooja, I answered your question. Nageshwar, thank you. Great. So thank you, Rignal. Personal email ID. I don't have a personal email ID. Of course, I have a personal email ID. If I say I don't have, that's not correct. But then there is an official email ID which is linked to my profile where I work. Right? If you write a question there, the chances of you getting an answer is faster than in a personal email ID, because what happens in a personal email ID, things get lost. Right? So write your emails to my official ID, which is nkashyap@iitg.ac.in, and I'll be answering it. Just go to the IIT Guwahati web page, type my name, you'll get an ID, or refer to the course page of Psychology of Language, and they will have the ID. If you can do that, you'll get the ID. Thank you. So, Pooja, thank you. Great, thank you, Rignal, thank you. So all those wonderful people who are here today and asking questions, I appreciate the effort you took to come here and ask those questions to me. And these are all very good questions. I hope with whatever knowledge I have gained over the years, whatever little knowledge I've gained over the years, I could satisfy your doubts or satisfy your queries. If something remains, please write those questions on the forum. You do understand that this is a live interaction, so there are things which are presently in my mind. There are things which are not. So, but when these questions come to me in off time, where I have enough time and I'm not live and I have enough time to devote to doing it, I'll be answering your question in a much better way. These sessions are sort of repo building sessions where I take in a question, a more generic question, and give an answer or get a feedback from you, and some very basic concepts that you don't understand. More detailed questions or more specific questions should always be sent to me through email or on the forum. I'll take my time out, I'll work on them, and I'll give you a reply. So I have Shivani, I think, no, Shriya, 12th standard arts. I want to study psychology further. So yes, please go ahead. If you have studied 12th standard arts, you can always do a bachelor's in psychology from any Indian university. I don't know from which part of India you are, but wherever you are, you will find a university which offers you a bachelor's in psychology. So go for a bachelor's in psychology and then do a master's in psychology. Understand that after economics, psychology is one of the most popular area. And right now, I would say that psychology is even better than economics. There is so much scope. The primary reason being that we are studying human beings, and all other streams are studying a natural phenomenon. So when we are studying human beings who are studying other things, we certainly be at the top of that. So we are studying those people who are studying other things, right? Think of it in this way. So we definitely have lead on that. And so studying psychology is easy. Just go ahead, go to any university, register yourself. It's a 3 years program. And then when you finish your, or nowadays you also have some integrated program where in 4 years you finish your bachelor's and master's. So find out those. And I think that will actually help in finishing your master's and bachelor's. In your bachelor's, you'll get opportunity to select the stream that you want to, whether it is counseling, industry management, or would you want to come to clinical psychology or any other field, and then you can take your specifications. So all my best wishes on leadership program for managers. That I'll let you know, Nageshwar. I'll have to talk to people who are in the MBA program, and if they are floating any course, I'll let you know. Drop in a mail with these questions. I'll go ahead and search them and put the answers to you. Saurabh, how motivation is correlated with stressors perceived by university students? So basically, motivation and stressors. So the more the stressor, the lesser the motivation is what I will say. But what stressors are you actually looking into? And how are you wanting to relate it to motivation? If you put that, if you put that particular question and be in a more easy way or in a more better frame to answer your questions, right? So motivation definitely decreases as the stressor increases, but depending on the kind of stressors. So if the stressor is such that it is frustrating you to achieve your goal, and if it happens again and again, the motivation is going to go down. And generally, in terms of the university system or in terms of the university systems, this has to do with one primary thing that I found out is that after doing very good, you get lesser marks, right? So that creates a kind of a stress and that lets you down. But remember that what marks you get in university, not for all universities, some universities I know, where the marks they give you is actually when it is translated somewhere else, it's very actually high, right? So depending on what stresses you are looking at, uh, I can answer your question in a much better way. But definitely at least I can say the stressors sort of demotivate. The more higher the stressor is, the lesser the motivation tends to be. Okay, let me take some more questions. So thank you, Dr. Kalavinan. Dina, TQ, I don't understand the full form. But I hope it's good. So thank you. Arunita, the content is very interesting. It's explained in a very effective manner. Thank you. Thank you, Arunita. Jyoti, good afternoon, sir. I'm Guwahati. I've completed my graduation in 2011. Want to restart my career. All the best. If you want any help, you may visit me. Just drop in a mail when you want to do that. And if you want my advice on it, you're welcome to visit me at my office. Arnita, also, what is the scope of psychology abroad? Do international candidates secure jobs there? Share your perspective, it would be great. So psychology is it's a good field, and wherever you go, abroad or here, you get a lot of jobs. But depending on what you have worked on, and from what I have seen in the recent days, I've been training PhD students, and none of my students are actually sitting. They all have a job, at least an academic job, some went to industries. So psychology has a lot of scope. All you need to do is find the right combination that you want to be doing and work. If you work on your thesis, if you work on your master's program, or if you learn nicely, you are will be accepted. Abroad, psychology has the highest scope. Perhaps most people abroad need a psychological advice. They have counselors, they have people talk to. Kind of system that they have, which is an individualistic system, which doesn't provide societal support or outside support. They need psychologists, and so there is a large demand for psychologists. So whether I think you may have to give a conversion exam. That's what my belief is, but then it has a great scope abroad. And then Jyoti, how does the course help me for my career? This course is going to tell you about what are the psychological aspects of language. Depending on what career you want, you can choose this course or any other course. If you want to study engineering psychology, if you want to do help people in engineering and designing systems, maybe cognitive psychology is much better. There is a course on general psychology will introduce you to psychology that will help you in thinking about or doing things in a more better manner by understanding people around. So there are different courses, and depending on what career you want to build, you should decide your course. So Pooja, so there are some external platforms that give certification counseling. Are those configurations valid? So Pooja, until unless I know about them and I check it out, there is no way for me to either confirm or deny the validation of these forums. So if you can send me what you are referring to, maybe do a background check and I can then tell you whether it is valid or not, right? Shreya, so different scopes after doing masters in psychology, and even in psychology, what are different things one can do in PhD. What could you do a PhD in? There are several scopes in psychology. Psychology is as a long dimension. It starts with clinical on one end and ends with organization on another. In between, you have a lot of things. You can be a neuroscientist. You can be an engineering psychologist. You can be an organization psychologist. You can be a counselor. You can be a medical psychologist. You can be a cognitive psychologist. You can be in the field of cognitive neuroscience or in the field of behavioral neuroscience. So there is a lot of field that you can work on to, and there are several interdisciplinary field also where you can work, right? Psychology is related to most of the fields. So depending on what you are interested in, what interests you, you can design or you can define what you want to do. And further on from there, you can decide where you want to do your PhD, how you want to do your PhD, and on what topic you want to do your PhD. So first of all, sit down, try to understand what interests you, and based on that, decide where do you want to. As I said, it's on the both extreme. It extends to from clinical to organization, and no stream or no area of research has such a extensive dimension. Right? Please enlighten me about educational psychology, its scope, and more. Thank you. So, education psychology, IGNAL is about studying how children learn. So, how to impart education. So, things like what should be the teaching method, and how one should teach students, the learning tools that we should use, the learning programs that we use, how should we interact with children. All those comprise child psychology. All those comprise into something called education psychology. There is a course called BEd, which is Bachelor's in Education and Master's in Education. These courses specifically focus on education psychology. So if you look at these courses or these programs, you will have a better understanding of education psychology. But mainly it deals with how psychology is related to imparting education, particularly mostly in children. So this is the best book for industrial psychology for HR professional. I'll have to look into it. I am not in HR. I think Robin or something was there when I used to study very long. I think 30 years, 25 years, 30 years odd when I was a student myself. But I'll have go through it and I'll tell you what is the best book for HRs, HR people and industrial psychology, right? There is a lot of book on industrial psychology, but specifically for the HR people, I'll have to look into it. I'll look into it and I'll definitely give you an answer. Right, industrial relations. So right now it's not coming to my mind. So I'll look, just put that question to me. I will answer this question and look at the books when I go back to my lab and my office. I'll look and I'll definitely tell you. Any other questions if you have? So thank you for being here. Let's check the YouTube platform as well. So Ranita, thank you. Sam, hello sir. It's okay, you can talk to us about your research interests in or outside of psycholinguistics. Okay, psycholinguistics is not my research interest, Sam. My research interest has to do with sleep and memory. I study signal processing in sleep and how sleep affects in memory consolidation and reconsolidation. That is what my research area is. If you want a little bit more detail, you can visit my webpage on the IIT Guwahati website. What I do is I look at how memories get transformed, reprocessed and processed during the human sleep. And by doing that, I also study the various parameters and the structure of sleep. That is what my research interest is. Other than that, another interesting area that I tend to work on is attention and how attention is related to updating of memory and working memory. So there's a closed loop that I look into, which is to relate with attention, memory, and sleep, and that is the core area I work in. If you want details about it, please visit the website. It has some details. If you still want more information, please write to me, and I will give you more information on what I do. Right? I hope that answers the question. Thank you. Jyoti Kumari, thank you. I think it will be Nageshwar. These early YouTube lectures will be available for you. Even if the course ends, I guess that's how it works. I'm not really sure about it, but I'll have to talk to the team who deals with these lectures, uploading and maintaining these lectures, and I'll get back to you on that. Okay, Sam. So thank you. Do check it out and see what I do for my research. Right. So if you have other people who are with me here and would like to ask a question, please ask those questions, and I'll be able to answer that. We have like 5 odd minutes left for this session. But don't worry if your question is not answered, or if you didn't get an opportunity to ask a question, or if you feel that you want to refine your question and ask it back, there will be a second session. So we'll go into the session and we'll try to answer those questions there. Put a question directly to me through my email, or write it on the forum, and I'll answer those questions for you. And for any other suggestions, if you have, please do the same. You can put those onto the forum or write a question directly to me. I will answer those questions for you. So with some 5 more minutes, I see Nageshwar typing question. Nageshwar, if you can type. Okay. So thank you, Nageshwar. So with that, we come to this end of this session for the course on psychology of language. What we'll do is I'll say goodbye to you. Thank you all wonderful people for joining me with your nice questions and wonderful suggestions. And I'll meet you again in the next, the second session of this course. Till then, goodbye from me from this MOOC studio at IIT Guwahati. Thank you and bye-bye.